I have oatmeal on my pants. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Cutting Clutter and Cucumbers. I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of talk about the name of my channel and the meaning behind it, as well as just introduce you to myself and my family and what you can expect to see here on this channel. My name is Sarah and I am a wife to Ryan, and we have 3 kids, ages 8, 7, and 5. A few months ago when I told some of our great friends that I wanted to start a YouTube channel this year, their first question was, why? And that's a valid question, but it kind of took me off guard a little bit because why not? It's something that I've always wanted to do, and my response to them is what I want to portray here in this video. Our journey of simplifying our life and becoming healthier people and eating healthier has been about a 10-year process so far, and we are still learning and challenging ourselves and growing today. But I want to put our story out there for those that maybe are just starting this journey and need a realistic, down-to-earth, nitty-gritty, this is actually what it looks like in a household setting with a family. And I want to be that resource for people and give them that nudge that they might need to be encouraged and realize that they can do these things, and it's really not, that hard when you break it down into these little steps and little life changes that in a 10-year period can make a huge difference. So what's with the name? Cutting Clutter and Cucumbers. Unfortunately, I can't take credit for that name. Thank you, Lindsay. However, I feel like it encompasses our family to a T. I still remember the day when my oldest son turned 1. So that was about 7.5 years ago. And we had a big birthday party and I did all the things, right? It was a theme. I did crafts. I did all the Pinteresty things. And at the end, we were left with so many gifts. And it was such a huge blessing to us. And it was so wonderful that we had family and friends that showered us in gifts and my son in gifts. But I just remember feeling this weight of, oh my word, what are we gonna do with all this stuff? Where are we gonna go with it? Does a 1-year-old even need all this stuff, right? And I remember that being kind of a vital turning point for our family, even before we had the other 2 kids, of like just having that mindset of maybe we don't need to do all the things that we've been told we need to do. And I think that really started us on our journey of cutting clutter out of our lives. It started with physical clutter, reducing the amount of toys that we have in the house, reducing our wardrobes, reducing everything. We spent years before we even knew the term minimalism, which we're definitely not minimalists. To some people, maybe we are, but to others, we definitely are not. I like to consider us a simplified household. But that started our journey well before we even knew the term minimalism. And I remember feeling this like weight lifting off of me when we would bring carloads of stuff to the donation center. I have the type of personality where I just completely break down and get super stressed out if there's messes all around. And maybe that's just me, maybe that's you too, and you're feeling this sense of overwhelmed by all the things surrounding you. But I cannot tell you how much peace and calm it has given us to have rooms that are simplified and orderly, and there's just not a ton of stuff around. But it's not only been the things in our life, but it also has been our schedule and our minds and just the things that we fill our life with that aren't stuff. So we've done a lot of evaluating how we spend our time and how we fill our schedule and our calendar, and really intentionally, I know that's such an overused word, but intentionally filling our time with the things that we think that are important to us. And those things for you are going to look very different than what they do for our family, probably anyways, maybe not. But I hope that our story can encourage others to be okay with saying, I don't want to fill my schedule with that, and I want to spend my time doing this, even though we've been kind of told that we need to participate in all of these things, when in reality we don't have to. So there's the cutting the clutter part. Now, as for the cutting cucumbers portion of the YouTube channel name, this represents our health journey, our healthy eating journey, which started about 10 years ago with super basic steps. Like, we bought butter instead of margarine, and we bought whole wheat pasta instead of white pasta, and all natural bread instead of white bread, right? So super basic things. And we have learned a lot in the last 10 years, including, for me, how to cook. When Ryan and I got married, I didn't know how to cook. I could make a mean cookie, but I didn't know how to cook. So it has taken me quite a few years of just really watching YouTube videos and reading blogs and figuring out one thing at a time of how to prepare a healthy meal for our family. And while I'm by no means an expert in any of these categories that I've talked about, I hope that this channel can give you a real life, practical perspective on what it looks like to strive to grow and become better and learn things that we want to learn about. And I also hope that our story can give you that little bit of a nudge to be okay with breaking away from the societal norms that have been kind of forced upon us, and saying, I don't need to live like that because I've been told that that's the norm. Another thing I hope to portray is that unconventional living has become so huge in the last few years, but you don't have to live in an RV to live unconventionally. We live very differently than your typical American family, and sometimes I kind of forget that. I wouldn't say very differently. We still live in the burbs, for pity's sake, but we don't live a typical life for where we live and where our setting are. So I hope that you can be encouraged that maybe your life doesn't accommodate these radical life changes, right? We can't all live in an RV for a year, even though that sounds pretty darn good sometimes. But our lives just don't accommodate those things a lot of times. But you can still make changes wherever you are to your life that are unconventional, that are you. And I hope that the things that we share here will encourage you to do just that. If this sounds good to you, I hope that you click subscribe and stick around for us sharing our journey of cutting the clutter in cucumbers. I had all these great thoughts of what I was going to say while I was on the toilet. And now they all went poof.